Here's the situation, right? Boom. I don't know why the highest we can go is 720. Holy shit. So the first thing I noticed, right? This is some early little gameplay from the DLC that we can expect. This is one of the first bosses. I heard that this is called the Dancing Lion. I heard that this was called the Dancing Lion. Off rip, the first thing that I noticed about this, the music off of this one boss fight that I've seen so far is better than any of the boss music I've heard in the entirety of Elden Ring. Every single one. And they said they releasing 30 plus tracks for the DLC. I know you saying you don't want to see this, but you gonna see it through me anyway. They releasing 30 plus soundtracks for the DLC. This shit sound fantastic. I'm beating that nigga first try, by the way.
Check out Iron Pineapple's breakdown. He was one of the people who got invited to play.
No, the fuck you not? Okay, bro. Look at these swords, bro. They said they got 8 new weapon types. They got over 100 new weapons in general. They got over 10 bosses and also optional bosses outside of the bosses themselves. Like side niggas. The fact that he just did this little spin attack, I started a new game, right? I started a new game of Elden Ring and I double daggered. Like on some Thorfinn shit. What possessed me to do that was seeing the way he was playing with these 2 daggers right here, or these 2 swords, and the fact that they're backwards, it just look cool as shit. It looked cool as shit. Like that little sidestep into the stab, it just looked cool as fuck. These little black enemies or whatever these are, the ghosts, the dark spirits. Even the mage niggas look like they're gonna get some shine. And I don't even like using the mage, but like, bro, like why not? So he's a magic build that's using martial arts, or he has a staff and is based on, I don't know what this dude is, but there's martial arts now. There's martial arts. I get to throw fisticuffs. I can throw hands. I can throw hands. I don't know what I'm going to do. He's fighting him. Look at this, man. Now, unfortunately, the problem that I see with this throwing hand shit is you very easily are probably going to get locked into an animation. That's the only issue I see with this thing. If you get locked in an animation, you're going to get hit. And that's unfortunate. With Sekiro, I could get my 2 hits in clean and get the fuck out. This game not as fast for your character as that game is. So let's not put too much dip on our chip FromSoft. Let's relax. Let's calm the fuck down, okay? Hold on, I'm about to check the Mavs game. Niggas is just on dick. Let me see what does it look like? I'm not, bro, you're telling me to check the game. It's on a commercial. Then we got projectile. I don't even know what this is, but I think it's a claw attachment. Bro, what the fuck? He's smacking the fuck out this bird. This is so crazy. So, I don't know how long it's going to take to beat this DLC. I don't. Let me see if I can get more specifications on it. I don't want to spoil too much, but from what I heard, a lot of people haven't been able to get much anyway. So, it's not like much is going to get spoiled. I'm just hoping that we get a boss as fun as Malekith and a boss as challenging as Melania, but without the bullshit. Without the one hit kill is going to make her whole boss fight. All I know is they said that Dark Souls 3 as a base game was 18 gigs. Granted, there's a lot more textures and shit that Elden Ring would have to render, but the fact that it's almost as big as a base game like Dark Souls 3 or Sekiro says that it could be a lot of content within it. You know what I'm saying?
With the added bonus of it seemingly being by far their biggest DLC ever. The boss.
So you know what's going to happen after you complete the DLC. You got to go into a new game plus with all your new gear and information, and then complete the entire game plus the DLC. You got to do it at least once. You know what I'm saying?
There's enemies, dungeons, level design, weapons, spells, art direction, etc. It's all top-notch stuff, and more or less exactly what you'd expect from FromSoft. That being said, the best way to describe this DLC...
why does this look like so trippy? It's like the stairs are swallowing you up into the door. It don't, like, why does it look like that?
It would be more Elden Ring.
Maybe it's the camera angle.
I know that might seem...
Okay, let's see what we got. Beginning moments. I don't really want my beginning moments spoiled. I'm going to just... Yeah, let's talk about the upgrade system. Let's talk about that.
Following the road a bit further, I came across another site of grace with a couple NPCs standing nearby. There was also a glowing cross with an important new item next to it, a Scadutree fragment. These fragments are typically found near other crosses scattered around the map, and you can turn them in for Scadutree blessings at sites of grace. These blessings operate as permanent upgrades for your attack power and defense, but only when you're in the DLC area. The first upgrade costs 1
What?
For your attack power and Scadutree blessings at sites of grace. These blessings operate as permanent upgrades for your attack power and defense, but only when you're in the DLC area.
Damn.
The first upgrade costs 1 fragment, and then subsequent upgrades cost 2. And by the time I finished my play session, I'd raised my blessing level to 3 or 4. As for how much these boost you, I can't say for sure, but I did have the foresight to do a quick test when upgrading my blessing from level 2 to 3. I did a heavy charged attack on an unaware enemy. At blessing level 2, it did 1427 damage, and at level 3, it did 1491. If you do the math, that's a bit over 4% extra damage. One thing to note is that on the stats screen, my stats were colored gold. I was confused by this at first, but it's likely that this is just a visual representation of the blessing kicking in. Therefore, my guess is that instead of raising your attack and defense by a certain percentage, these blessings are probably just raising our stat values by flat
This
amounts.
nigga ugly
like
as
my
hell.
attack power stat went from 700 to 720 or something.
I gotta use
Don't
these
quote me on
blades.
that, but yeah, that's my guess on how it works. On top of that, I found another new item that functioned like the Scadutree fragments, but for Spirit Ashes instead. These items converted into revered Spirit Ash blessings, which provided permanent upgrades to the attack and defense for all Spirit Ashes used in the DLC area. This came with the added bonus of making Torrent tankier as well. So even if you don't use Spirit Ashes, it's worth tracking these items down and upgrading your character with them. Between these two new items, I think this is a really fun way to approach upgrades for the DLC, as it allows high-level players with completed builds to still get meaningful boosts to their characters without horribly upsetting the balance of the base game when they leave the DLC. It also lets you re-experience that
makes sense. I don't like the idea that your upgrades don't go with you into the base game, but that's fair. But it's not. But at the very least, I get to carry my weapons, right? The weapons that you get from the DLC come with you into the base game, at the very least. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to look forward to.
Satisfaction of collecting upgrades via exploration like golden seeds and sacred tears, but this time in a new setting and with a new twist.
Okay. Now he's about to talk about story overview, first legacy. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to go into the weapon types. What's the weapon types looking like? Hold on, let me go back to the game. What's the game looking like? Oh yeah, chat, they're so done. They're so cooked. Third quarter about to end.
I want to take a few minutes to discuss some of the new weapons that were added. This is easily one of the biggest highlights to the whole DLC. I noticed that my character had multiple fully upgraded weapons in his inventory, so I did my best to switch weapons every 10 or 15 minutes to experience as much as I could.
This is so crazy.
First of all, in an interview from a few weeks ago, we learned that there would be 8 new weapon types, but we didn't know the specifics yet for what all 8 would be. Now we do. The 8 types are light...
I'm sorry, did this nigga just come and spawn in the water?
We didn't know the...
There was a fucking wall right here, and he just...
specifics yet.
Where did you come from?
For what all 8 would be. Now we do. The 8 types are light greatsword, martial arts, beast claws, perfume bottles, reverse grip swords, throwing daggers, great katana,
reverse grip, great katana. Oh my god, bro! Please make it all black one. I need an all black katana. I need to complete my bleach build, man. I need to do it.
and dueling shield. Let's start with the light greatsword. This was the starting weapon for me, and it's called the Milady. This thing is fantastic.
The Milady?
It's quick and combo focused, and the weapon skill puts you in a stance that allows you to either do a set of quick slashes with R1 or a jumping lunge attack with R2.
Oh my god.
Also note that you'll do multiple swings with just a single input. Like the guard counter here is a 3-hit attack. I also noticed the jumping attacks were similar, with them being 2-hit combos just from a single button press. This gives this weapon type a very distinct feel. I'm excited to see what other light greatswords exist in the DLC, since this one felt ridiculously smooth to use. After that, we have martial arts. Dude, this weapon just kicks ass. There's not much more to say. It felt so good to use, and the way
I might have to go hands only. So, I'm wondering, if you do martial arts, do you need to go like crazy into strength? Well, you'll be able to respect your shit, so you can go in and out of the DLC world, but I might realistically use martial arts. That's such a bad idea considering the bosses that you're going to have to fight, dude. And since you don't have a technical weapon, I don't think you could put an Ash of War on martial arts. So I couldn't use like Bloodhound Step or nothing crazy, right? My Sukuna build needs hands. I could use Sukuna. Plus, I don't even think my Sukuna build is as leveled as the Bleach one. I could go crazy. Yuji build? Oh, God, bro. I don't want to have to keep replaying the game. I'm already double daggering it.
the way the attacks combo into each other was awesome. To all my Dark Souls 2 fans, remember the Bone Fist weapon? It's like that, but way better. So expect a Ratatouille flashback moment when you get your hands on them. Next up, Beast Claws. Look at how fucking sick these things are. They're like
Yeah, I might go Beast Claws or martial arts.
the
Or Great Katana.
unhinged younger brother of the martial
Great Katana sound crazy as fuck.
arts weapon. Flying around with them will make you feel like an actual animal, and while the obvious point of comparison would be the Beast Claws from Bloodborne, these ones feel notably faster and more acrobatic. Highly recommend. Perfume bottles are next. These ones really surprised me. You just get to throw out fire or lightning or whatever element. Surely it costs FP,
Avatar shit. Right? Avatar shit. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do.
Nope, you can do this as much as you want. And keep in mind, it's not a consumable. It's just a whole ass weapon type. So you have
Oh my god. Why do they do this?
one-handed and two-handed movesets, running attacks, jumping attacks, everything. The charged heavy attack was my favorite as it makes your character spin around, throwing the fire everywhere, and it's very effective in group settings.
This is so bad.
Following that, we have reverse grip swords. This is actually the one weapon type I didn't get to try personally, but luckily we have a lot of footage of it here. As a bonus,
Did you just detonate a bomb? Did you just send a bomb? No.
and it's very effective in group settings.
No.
Following that, we have reverse
He just sent a bomb. 2-day shipping.
grip swords. This is actually the one weapon type I didn't get to try personally,
Stuck it to the opponent
but luckily we have a lot of footage of it here.
and detonated it.
As a bonus,
What the fuck is that?
check out this rapid fire crossbow they show off.
He talking about the crossbow. What the fuck did he just throw at him?
Anyway, these things seem especially fast and evasive. Like, there's one move where you dash through the enemy while attacking at the same time. Also worth noting is that you can block with L1. Normally, this isn't possible when dual wielding two separate weapons, as L1 is the input to attack with both at the same time. So this confirms that they're a package deal, and as such, they have a more varied moveset. It
That's so great.
also opens the door to landing guard counters while dual wielding. Very excited to try these. Next up, throwing daggers. Just like the perfume bottles, these caught me off guard because I was expecting there to be some sort of consumable or FP component to their attacks. But no, you can just rapid fire these out as much as you want and fully commit to a viable mid-range playstyle
10-10 build. 10-10 build. 10-10 build.
without
Let's
ever
do it.
Now, the weapon art has the added bonus of enabling the daggers to pierce through enemies. Next, we have the Great Katana. No footage of this one sadly, but it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a big katana. It's basically an odachi, which Neo fans should be familiar with. Think length and girth rather than just length.
This is perfect. That's perfect. That's literally me. Holy shit. But is it though? Maybe an Inuyasha build. You know what I really would love? Is if they came with more hairstyles for the characters in the DLC. More hairstyles and more. Just more. That's really what I want.
Loved this weapon. The basic one has a weapon art that puts you in an overhead stance where R1 would be a quick slash down, and R2 would be 3 quick slashes instead.
What the fuck?
Lastly, we have the dueling shield. Sadly, the only footage we have of this thing is this one attack here during the upcoming boss fight. The shield had pointed edges, and the moveset involved a mix of thrusting and slashing attacks. It comes with the added bonus of being very well suited for guard counters when you two-hand it. And fun fact, this seems to be based on real-life dueling shields that actually existed. But yeah, as someone who gravitates toward goofy and gimmicky stuff, this one was surprisingly straightforward and honest. I think I need to mess around with it more before I settle on how I feel about it. So that's it for new weapon types, but there's one more big addition mixed into existing weapon types I want to mention.
Tell me!
Check it out. Throwing weapons. These are new weapons that allow you to throw your weapon whenever you press R2 or strong attack, but they still double as melee weapons for light attacks. And guess what? 0 FP cost. You can throw them as much as you want.
But you gotta go pick them up, right?
In my play session, I found a throwing axe, a throwing spear, and a throwing great hammer. The great hammer made me laugh out loud because the charged R2 attack involves spinning the hammer in a circle before launching it across the room for 2,000 damage.
What?
Think Mario 64 throwing Bowser, and you'll get the idea. Really love how FromSoft is embracing all these ranged options and allowing more playstyles that seamlessly mix ranged and melee. Alright, that does it for weapons. Let's get back to the dungeon.
Okay, I don't want to hear about the dungeons. No. Wait, dungeon boss. Do I want to learn about this dungeon boss, or do I just want to fight it? I just want to fight it. I don't want to know about that. Heading east, second dungeon, next region, side content, new spells. What new spells you got? What the spells looking like?
Doing everything I could find.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil myself.
I spent my remaining few minutes trying out the 2 other characters I could have selected at the beginning to get a feel for their weapons and spells. I've already covered most of this in the weapons section from earlier, but I do want to give special attention to the new sorceries and incantations. Some of these seem especially fun to use. A few of my favorites were the Gravity Bomb Explosion sorcery, an incantation that mimicked the beams of lights from the big flower enemies in the base game, and one where your head turns into a rune bear, kind of like the dragon incantations. Spellcasters are about to have a lot of fun. Before we wrap up, I want to share a few more discoveries that I found that I haven't mentioned yet. First, both of the main bosses drop boss remembrances. For the
Okay, that's all I need to know. I don't want to know more. I don't want to know no more. What level should you enter the DLC? That's a good question.
What level should you enter the DLC? So for the preview event, we were all given characters that were level 150 and in new game. Now I think that was fine, but I wouldn't go higher than that. I think somewhere between 120 and 150 is probably ideal.
I gotta check my Sakuna build, see where he at. Cause I might be able to real life just go into it with him.
You're not New Game Plus. Personally, I'd lean toward 120. How big is the DLC? Okay, this is an important question and one that I would love to answer accurately. We're talking about a $40 expansion here, so it's more than reasonable for people to want some assurance that it's worth it. Ultimately, I can't answer this for sure, but if I had to guess, I'd say that what I experienced with this preview event was 20% or less of the DLC. 15% might be a better guess though. I could easily be off, but that's the vibe I'm getting. Part of this guess is based off an interview Miyazaki gave, where he said the DLC would contain over 10 new boss fights. Now, right away, that's obviously too low of a number if we count all the side bosses. I already fought 7 bosses in this first region alone. Therefore, I'm pretty sure that he's only talking about the actual main boss encounter.
Oh my god. Bro, 10 bosses? 10 main bosses? How are there 10 main bosses for a DLC? What did Elden Ring's base game have for bosses? You had Margit, Godfrey, I don't think Gideon. I think he's main boss. Goskin Duo's technically main. Fire Giant, Renala. Who am I missing? Moog isn't mandatory though, I don't think. Moog, Rykard? Rykard's not mandatory. But he is a main boss though, right? Did I say Godric already?
Challenge. Beat the bosses in 24 to 48 hours or punishment. Deal? Don't be scared, bruv.
I don't think that'll be impossible, but I also don't know where to go specifically to find and beat those bosses. Like, a better challenge would be beat the bosses, like, every boss I encounter, I have to beat under 20 tries or some shit like that. But since I don't know where to go to find each boss, it's gonna be difficult to know for sure how, like, where I should go to encounter each boss. And so I'm not wasting my time with the side bosses. I'm gonna still fight the side bosses, but that'll definitely drain my time overall. Um, oh, and Malekith was a main. So how, like, the original bit, like the base game had like what 8 to 10 to 11 bosses or some shit like that. That's not crazy for the DLC to have the literal same amount as the main game. And then I don't even know if the optional bosses are going to be harder than the main boss.
Even though I did it in 3 hours, keep in mind that I played very efficiently. I only died a couple times to each of the main bosses. I didn't die whatsoever while traversing dungeons or exploring. I didn't die to any of the side bosses, and I didn't explore nearly as much as I would have liked. I'm confident I missed a fair bit in both legacy dungeons, and probably some side stuff too. So realistically, this first region will take most players a lot longer than the 3 hours I spent essentially speedrunning it. I'd say anywhere from 6 to 8 hours, assuming they're fully exploring and doing all the side stuff. And then if we extrapolate from that, I think this DLC will wind up being around half the size and length of the base game. This is all just a guess though, and I could easily be wrong. So if you're truly curious, I suggest just waiting until the DLC is out and seeing what people say.
Facts.
Is the DLC too easy? I'm sure some of you must be thinking that because of how fast I was able to do everything in the first area. Well, there's definitely a larger discussion to be had about how FromSoft approaches difficulty in Elden Ring and what constitutes easy or hard. I'm going to sidestep that discussion and say that the difficulty is in line with the rest of the game and feels like a natural progression past the late parts of the base game.
All right, that's all I need to know. This is fucked. Finish this main game tonight. Wait, what do you mean? Should I replay Elden Ring again? And nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Unless, let's just chill. Let's calm down. Let's relax, bro. Let's not even do all that. We ain't need to be real chill.
It's challenging and engaging. You gotta remember, I just recently did a whole super hard mode modded playthrough, so going back to vanilla Elden Ring felt like taking the training weights off. Any more advice for people getting ready to play it for themselves? My advice would be take your time and don't rush it like you're on a 3-hour time limit at a preview event. Savor it.
Yeah, really consume it. I want to really savor the experience. I'm gonna go into every nook and cranny. Now you went through enough pain. Make a build for the martial arts. Technically, I am. I got another one that I loaded up, and I'm gonna play that one. Hopefully, and beat it cautiously and calmly within the 2 weeks. I'm gonna try to get every talisman though. That's one thing that I never really like locked in on, is getting the talismans to really help my build flourish. So we're gonna see what that's gonna look like. Hold on, let me go back to the game. But yeah, chat, in 2 weeks when the Elden Ring DLC drops, we gonna go in and we're not gonna get off stream. I think I'm gonna start the stream probably 5-6 o'clock that day. I'm gonna have a dinner with y'all right before the stream, like right before we get into the DLC. We gonna eat, you know what I'm saying? Right after I'm done eating, having a nice little bev, I'm gonna hop right into the shit. And that's just gonna be what it is.